Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I can tell you guys also had a good dinner just like I did. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Ahbab, welcome to the monthly family night at Masjid Istiqlal. We're very happy that you guys chose to join us and spend your Saturday evening in the house of Allah. For those of you who do not know, for those of you who are joining and watching us from home, here at the masjid we have a regular habit that the last Saturday of every month is family night. What is family night? It's an opportunity for the entire family to come to the masjid at least once a month, right? And for us to eat dinner together, for the kids to have fun with each other, for the adults to socialize with each other, and for us to learn something together as one community. This evening's program, inshallah, will commence with a recitation from the Holy Quran, followed by its translation by two of our youngsters here in the masjid. And then I will be having a discussion with you folks about how to enjoy your life. This will be a series of conversations that we're going to start today for the entire year of 2023 on the last Saturday of every month, which will be our family night. Without any further ado, I'll invite the kids to get started.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إن خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه سبيلا إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كفورا ألم نخلقكم من ماء مهين فجعلناه في قرار مكين عينا يشربونها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا وإنا نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا فامتريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك يوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficial, the most merciful. Was there not a period of time when man was nothing to speak of? We created man from a drop of mingled fluid to put him to the test. We gave him hearing and sight. We guided him to the right path, whether he was grateful or not. We have prepared chains, iron collars, and blazing fire for the disbelievers, but the righteous will have a drink mixed with kafur. A spring for God's servants which flows abundantly at their wish. They fulfill their vows. They fear a day of widespread woes. They give food to the poor, the orphan, and the captive, though they love it themselves, saying, "We feed you for the sake of God alone. We seek neither recompense nor thanks from you. We fear the day of our Lord, a woefully grim day." So God will save them from the woes of that day, give them radiance and gladness, and reward them for their steadfastness with a garden and silken robes. They will sit on couches feeling neither scorching heat nor biting cold, with shady branches spread above them and clusters of fruit hanging close at hand.
Thank you. Alright folks, we want to thank our kids for their courage and bravery in presenting today in front of the audience that's in person as well as the folks that are online. I love my brother's outfit. I need to get myself one like that. And for my sister Zia, she did a wonderful job, mashallah, presenting the meaning of those ayat. Folks, in the next half an hour or so, we are going to have some discussions. Let me just clear my area here. Very good. We're going to have some discussions on enjoying your life. And we're going to start, inshallah. Today's session is very much introductory. And as I explained to you guys before, it's based on a beautiful book, Enjoy Your Life, this one, written by Dr. Muhammad Al-Arifi, who is a scholar who is still alive, a contemporary scholar of ours. I am not going to be reading the entire book to you guys. I would sincerely recommend to all of you to purchase a copy and read it at home. It is arguably one of the best works in Islamic literature in the contemporary world that we live in. It is definitely the best book I've ever read, my favorite and most enjoyable book, for the simple reason that it presents very practical advices and solutions that we can all benefit from. Just a little bit of background. The author wrote this book after reading the work of a non-Muslim sociologist who wrote about how to be happy. And that fellow who wrote that book, he didn't write it just as a theory. He had some principles on how to be happy, and he combined them with anecdotes and examples from the life of successful men. He used people like Abraham Lincoln and others, obviously non-Muslim, there's nothing wrong with that. He used their example to show how a human being can be successful and happy. Our author, after reading that book, a thought came to him, which was, if this man wrote a book like this, and he found example and inspiration in the lives of some American and European men, I wonder what would happen if someone wrote a book like that and looked for inspiration from the life of Prophet Muhammad. What type of final product and what type of powerful message would then be produced? And so the book Enjoy Your Life is a compilation of principles and ideas that a human being can apply to really enjoy their life, with examples and anecdotes taken not only from the Prophet ﷺ, but from our rich Islamic tradition. And it's written in a nice way that it's not an academic work per se. It's more of a casual read that everybody can enjoy and follow along. It's not necessary that every chapter is related to the one previous to it, but every chapter contains something that is very important for me and you to enjoy our life. With that brief introduction, let's get started. By the way, the book was originally authored in the Arabic language, and it was translated very well into English. It can be available online. I'm sure you'll find it on Amazon and other places, or at any local Islamic bookstore in the GTA. I was privileged enough that I was in Mecca the year that it was published, and I found it at a bookstore. Bookstore is the right word. At a bookstore in Mecca, alhamdulillah, when I went to make Umrah for the first time. Now, the first thing that we're going to discuss, you might find it very interesting. We're going to talk about what type of people will not benefit from this type of discussion. You may be used to us talking about who will benefit, how to take maximum benefit. But the first thing that we're going to discuss is who would not benefit from a discussion on how to enjoy life. The idea is, if you know who will not benefit, make sure you're not one of them. It's very obvious, right? Who will not benefit from this type of study or this type of work? The person who will not benefit from this type of work is the one who is very comfortable saying, that's the way I am. This is the way I was since I was small. This is how I was raised. These are my habits. I can't change now. Anybody who has that defeated mentality, anybody who has that type of mindset, not willing to go outside of their comfort zone and try something different, anybody with that type of mentality will never benefit from this study or from any other study. Because to benefit from a study means that you have to acknowledge that maybe there is something I can do differently. I'll share with you guys a funny story. I was in my local masjid on Thursday night with my teacher, Sheikh Ashraf, who many of you know. I'm wearing his hat today, by the way. We were in the masjid and we were having a discussion. He teaches us tafsir Halaqa there every Thursday night. And he was talking about how people, even the whole Muslim Ummah, divides into different groups and different sects. And each person thinks they are right and others are wrong and this and that. Lots of division, confusion. Allah warns about this in the Quran. And so he asked a rhetorical question and he said, does anybody know which sect is the right one? The whole Halaqa, everybody was quiet. Nobody said anything. Which sect is the right one? So I put up, what'd you say? No one? No, there's a different answer that I gave. I put up my hand and he said, what do you think? I said, ours, obviously. And he laughed because he realized, we understood each other. See, the problem is, if somebody thinks I am right and I'm the only one who's right, and the way I do it is the only way to do it, how would that person ever change? It takes some realization that maybe there's something I could do better. Maybe my relationships with other people can improve. If you think, no, I am the best person, everybody should like me, then you will never get any better. And you will never benefit from such a study about how to enjoy your life. The author mentions a story before he begins talking about his book. And it's a very, very interesting story that can again teach us many things. We're not only going to learn from the author how to enjoy our life. By his own admission, he explains that he intended to teach the Islamic art of interpersonal relationships. See, human beings become happy when other people are happy with us. And we become sad when other people are angry with us or at us. Everyone can relate to this. Husband and wife are happy when the other one is happy with them. Children should be happy if their parents are happy with them, and they should feel bad if their parents are unhappy with them. This is tabi'i, it's normal. But the author mentions that he will use this book to teach us the Islamic art of interpersonal skills. How does Islam teach us to deal with other people and ultimately become happy? And we will learn many, many different things from his stories and the stories in our history that he will present to us. He tells the story of himself. He says one day he received a phone call. Imams and shuyukh receive phone calls time to time, sometimes from random numbers. And that's why we have to develop the habit of picking up the call, even if 70% of them are scams. or spams I should say rather, not scams. It's the guy calling trying to clean your ducts or something like that. But we have to pick up anyways, because in case it's a member of the community who says I have a question or I need help, we have to make some time and we have to answer. But in any case, the Shaykh, he mentions that one day he received a call, and on the other line was a frustrated man. And the man said, "Dear Shaykh, what is the ruling on suicide? What is the ruling on suicide?" So the Shaykh, he said, "Say that again, I didn't hear you." The man became angry and he said, "How did you not hear me? I'm asking a basic, simple question. What is the ruling on suicide?" So the Shaykh, he said, immediately he had to think, he had to get creative, what to do. So he decided to tell the guy, he said, "Suicide is recommended in Islam." Suicide is recommended in Islam. So the guy on the other end was shocked. He said, "What do you mean?" So the Shaykh said, "Let's talk about how you plan to kill yourself." The guy was silent. But the Shaykh then said, "Why don't you tell me what the problem is? Let's discuss." See, what is happening here, the hikmah that he possessed was, do you think this guy is really calling to understand if it's halal or haram to commit suicide? Do you really think somebody doesn't know? Somebody calls the Imam and says, "Yeah, Imam, must I pray 5 times a day?" You think he doesn't know? By the way, take this lesson and keep it with you when you go home. Especially those of you who have kids. Kids have a habit of asking questions to annoy their parents. I did it, you did it, everyone did it. It's very normal, right? Then sometimes engaging with them and getting into a fight is self-defeating. Because the kid came to talk to his dad or his mom to reiterate in his mind, my dad is unreasonable. I knew he's unreasonable. And today he proved again that I know he's unreasonable. Then save yourself the headache and find a way out of that conversation. At least be creative to turn the conversation in a different direction, or avoid it altogether if you can. But don't go into a conversation that you know is going to paint you with a bad brush and you're going to live with that stain and then complain, "Oh, the kid has a negative opinion of me." Obviously, because you walked into the trap. So the Shaykh, he had that wisdom that this guy is asking about something, obviously he knows the answer. And maybe if I can shock him a little bit, we may turn the conversation to figure out what's really wrong. I appreciate and admire that the Shaykh was ready to help. He was not making, and I hope you guys understand this, he was not making a mockery of the guy's question. He just wanted to force him to change his train of thought, right? In any case, the Shaykh, he mentions that when the man started to explain why he thought about suicide, he said, "I'm not successful like my peers. I have certain skills, but I'm not interested in using them to further my career. And the skills that I wanted to have, I don't have the energy to go out and acquire them." One more time. The guy has a very relatable problem. He's saying certain skills I have, I don't have the motivation or the energy to exercise them to further my career. The skills that I need to be where I want to be, I don't have the energy or the motivation to go and acquire them. Okay, you are stuck. Where are you going? You can't use what you have and you don't have energy to get what you don't have. Where are you going in your life? And so this was the condition of this man. The Shaykh stops telling the story because more than that is probably confidential. But he does ask all of us, and I'm asking all of us, myself included, to think, why do we sometimes accept and take it as the rule for ourselves that we are inferior to others or somebody else? Why is that? What is it that allows me or you to think I am not as good as somebody else, or I'm not as capable of something as somebody else? Why do we accept that as our situation or as our reality? There's a poet in the Arabic language, he said, who will not reach the top of the mountain? Anybody know? What type of person will not reach the top? Any idea?
Who gives up?
Very good. Somebody even worse than that. Ask your friend beside you, maybe he knows. Who is worse than the one who gives up while climbing the mountain? If I had some prize, I'd give it to you, but I have nothing. The one who doesn't even try. The worst person who cannot reach the top of the mountain is the one who doesn't start climbing. If you don't start, and you don't ascend and go towards where you want to be, how can you complain that you're not like that person or you're not successful like that person? This is complaining for the sake of complaining. You're not really genuine about that. You don't have a genuine concern. Because had you had a genuine concern and you had a desire to fix your situation, you should have taken some steps up the ladder. We mentioned already earlier that those who get stuck in this position are those who surrender to their reality. They are content, or maybe not, I don't want to say content, but they're not willing to change the reality that they're in. They repeat those phrases that I said earlier. It's the way I am, it's the way my parents raised me, my whole family is like this. Then what does your whole family have to do with the fact that you can't become what you want to be? You're a grown man now, or you're a grown lady now. Move on with your life. Go acquire the skills you need to learn. You want to be somebody who, مثلا, for example, is able to read the Quran fluently. Okay, how long are you going to say, my mom didn't teach me? Are you not a big enough boy now? Are you not a big enough girl now? Go online, find some lessons, learn. Put 1 hour a day, half an hour a day. Become good at something. What is holding you back? Somebody, wants to become an engineer, but he says, what? I'm not good at mathematics. And my whole family, from my grandfather's time, was not good at mathematics. So what are you trying to say? Go get a tutor. Go do some homework. Maybe open the textbook once in a while. You'll become a little bit good at mathematics. It's not rocket science. It's not really that hard. The author tells a story, a very interesting story that we should, inshallah, try to take inspiration from. He said, and for my young friends especially, keep this in mind. You guys are in school, high school, university, college, whatever you might be. And I've met people in my life who have made this type of statement. The author, he says, the Shaykh, he mentions that one day he gave a short lecture in a masjid over there in his country. And he said when he was finished giving the lecture, and in his lecture he quoted a big scholar. His name was Shaykh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, rahmatullahi alayhi. He was a teacher of the author as well. And so he referenced the Shaykh's work and his fatwa and whatever. And when he finished the lecture, an old man, he said an old man from the Jama'ah came to talk to him. And he was so excited to shake his hand and tell him that I was a classmate of Shaykh ibn Baz rahimahullah. Now somebody might think, wow, congratulations, good for you. The Shaykh said he respected the man and he honored him, but when he left he couldn't help but think to himself, how is it that you studied with Shaykh ibn Baz, and Shaykh ibn Baz today, the world mentions his name and they pray for him. When he passed away, the members of the world were making dua for him, and nobody knows who you are. How is it that your claim to fame, your achievement in life is that you studied with a successful man? Why didn't you become successful? Why didn't you aspire to become great just like your classmate? Right? It will happen most likely, and those of you who are students today, one day a classmate of yours will be pretty famous. It's bound to happen. Might end up being the CEO of Google, might end up being a director of some big company, could become, the mayor, could become the prime minister. It's very possible. Why not? It cannot be that as a Muslim, me and you and all of the sisters and brothers, that our claim to fame is that we know a successful guy or we know a successful lady. Why are you not successful? What's holding you back from being successful? Allah gave you 2 eyes, 1 brain, 2 hands, 2 feet. You were even in the same class as the guy who rose to the top of the ladder. Then what was missing was not that he had opportunity and you didn't. You guys were in the same place at the same time. But what is missing is how you thought of yourself. The ambition that you had in yourself. The belief that I can do what I want to do. That was missing. And many times there are people around us who have many talents and they have many abilities. They have many skills. But those skills and those talents remain within them. Dare I say, sometimes they even die within them. Because they are never practiced and they are never utilized. Some of you may think, where am I going with this? You guys will recall, especially all of the faces that I see, you guys are regular with us, mashallah. In the year 2022, a very, very long time ago, we had a series of discussions about the Muslim community that we dream of. And in that we spoke about many different things. One of the topics we spoke about was I'm trying to remember the topic or the theme of that day anyways, I can't remember, maybe you guys can. But I remember what I said. I said that the Muslim, the topic was ibadah. We were talking about worship. And we said ibadah is, in the simple definition that me and you can apply, ibadah is to fulfill your potential. Ibadah is that whatever Allah has made you capable of doing, you do it. Ibadah is that you don't waste your ability, you don't waste your talent. If Allah made you capable of being, a highly successful person, then you become a highly successful person. Because anything less than that will be a disappointment in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same way me and you don't want to disappoint. As an example, our kids who came and presented here today. Most likely, maybe they volunteered, maybe they were voluntold, maybe their parents reminded them that you have to do this, it's very important that you do this. And what brought them here at the end of the day? Maybe, not these two guys, they look like good people, but the guys maybe from last month. One of them is here, he looks like a good person too. Some kid who came here to the front, maybe what brought him or her here is, I don't want to disappoint my parents. If they really they're hoping that I do this, then fine, I'll do it. If some human doesn't want to disappoint his or her parent, can you imagine being a disappointment in front of Rabbul Alameen, the one who made you and made everyone around you? How would you stand in front of Allah while your classmate is beside you, your brother is beside you, your friend is beside you, and Allah looks at you and says, I knew you could have done better. How would you feel? Is that something you would be okay with? Then the author, he mentions a story to draw our attention to the fact that the Muslim, the one who is, really benefiting from Islam and benefiting from the teachings of this beautiful deen, he will become a happy person. He will become, or she will become, a successful person. And anything less than that is frankly not acceptable. Anything less than that is not acceptable. As in the case of the man, why is it that his claim to fame is that the guy beside me was successful? Our claim to fame, inshallah, should be one day that we succeeded with whatever skills and whatever talent we had. I'm going to get into this later on, but I can mention it now as well. What do we mean when we say somebody is successful? Wallahi, I don't mean that you have millions of dollars. If you have the potential to have millions of dollars, that should be part of the equation. But I don't mean that you have millions of dollars. For one of us, or for all of us, let me say that, for me and for many of you, part of being successful means that I'm a good husband. For many of you, it means that you are a good father. For our sisters, being successful means that your household is run in a peaceful and happy way. That your husband is happy, the kids feel loved and respected and well appreciated at home. That the family is progressing in the right direction. The mother at home or the wife at home can help set that course or that path of action. This is what we are talking about at the bare minimum when we talk about being successful. Above that, there is way more, of course. Part of me being successful, I have 4 brothers. Part of me being successful is having a healthy relationship with all of them. I have one sister as well. I have my parents as well. You guys will have siblings and families at home as well. Part of being successful is having healthy relationships with your family. Part of being successful is being connected to your masjid and to your community. These are, wallahi, way more important points of success than having money or having fame. That's not where I was going. I hope we didn't take away that the old man, his failure was that he wasn't the mufti like how Shaykh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz was. That's not the case. The case is, how did one person reach a level that they fulfilled their potential and they had relationships with everyone, they were teaching many people, their works was appreciated by millions, and you on the other hand are just sitting, as a regular person, and all you have to show for your effort is, I studied with that guy. Then as a Muslim, inshallah, we're going to be successful and we're going to enjoy our life, and enjoying our life is part of the recipe of success. Because Islam didn't come for me and you to be good Muslim and be miserable at life. I hope we all understand this, right? It's not a goal of the Sharia that you are unhappy. Quite the contrary. It's a goal of the Sharia that me and you are happy. Then it will take some effort to ensure that we develop the skills and we have the right ideas and the right mindset to have healthy relationships with one another, which will ultimately lead to us being happy. The author mentions, firmly convince yourself that you will benefit from your abilities. And more than that, You can even benefit others from your ability. You know, I have the ability, you have the ability. If I'm feeling sad today, who has the ability to turn that sadness into happiness? This is a very wrong concept is out there, that my sadness is because of my wife. No, it's not true. My sadness is my problem, and I have the ability to change that. It just takes hitting the right switch and doing the right action, right? You can convert, and I can convert my sadness into happiness. My frown and your frown can be changed into a smile. When my face is down and I'm frowning, do any of you come and pick up my face and make it smile? No. It's my own choice when I decide to smile. Same way it's your own choice if you decide to smile. Your grief or your troubles can be transformed into happiness and excitement if you just take the right step and if you hit the right switch. We are all in full control of our own destiny. We are in full control of our own emotions and our own choices. But you have to be mindful of the fact that you are in control. And you have to be willing to make the changes. It's easy, that's obviously why many people do it. It's easy to blame somebody else. It's easy to say, I'm miserable because of the kids. I'm miserable because of my wife. I'm miserable because of my boss. I'm miserable because of this or because of that. Habibi, take responsibility. Take ownership of your own self and change your reality. Because you are the one who is able to do that. Enjoy life. Life is short, and there is no time to dwell over being sad or being miserable, right? If something bothers me or something bothers you, find a way to correct it and move on. Some people like and they feel it's normal to be in a state of sadness. It's not true. It's quite miserable, frankly, right? If I'm offended or I'm disturbed, I'm talking to Maskur, for example, he says something bad to me that offends me, something not nice. I have two options. I can tell him, I can say, brother, that wasn't nice. You hurt my feelings, X, Y, Z. He may apologize, he may not apologize. It's his choice, his prerogative. But at least I let him know. Now I can move on with my life. There's a second option that many times we choose, and that is to go home and think, why did he say that? How dare he say that? Who gave him the right to say that? Who does he think he is? And you beat yourself over this. The beauty about this problem is, sometimes you go weeks. It's like adhkar after salah. After every fajr, you remind yourself, why did he say that? After asr, you remind yourself, I wonder why he said that. Where are you going with this? Do something about it and move on. Hatta even if you left the masjid. Imagine I left the masjid without talking to Maskur. I'm driving home and thinking about it. It's bothering me. Don't torture yourself. Why would I torture myself anymore? Let me pick up the phone and call him and say, Habibi, you know what you said really disturbed me. Most likely he's a nice guy. He'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. You never meant to hurt anybody's feelings. It wasn't my intention. Okay, we're good then. Even if I tell him and he does nothing about it, at least now I've unloaded that burden. It's not something that I need to carry with me anymore. Now it's his problem. Whether he apologizes, does it again, learns from his mistake, is his problem. But why do some people insist to carry the misery and to carry the stress and to carry the burdens? So one of the things that we learned this evening on this beautiful day of Saturday before the snowstorm starts, we learn that if you want to enjoy your life, don't accept to be miserable. Don't accept to be stressed out. Don't accept to be angry at somebody else without unloading the burden. Let the other person know and let it become their problem. Let them choose what they want to do about it. But don't carry it with yourself and replay it and remind yourself over and over again. Obviously, let's be frank and honest here. This takes time. We need to train ourselves, right? We have habits, we have ways that we operate. They need to change. It will take time. But at least being mindful. Well, I myself first, we have to change how we behave. I read this book 10 years ago. I was reading the book again today just to figure out what we're going to discuss. And I have to say, alhamdulillah, the brain works. I remembered some of it. But reading it again, I still found that, wow, we have lots to apply. We read, we understood lots of things. It was so nice. We shared it with other people, maybe too, perhaps family and friends, whatever. But when you read and you look, you say, oh wow, these ideas make sense. If only we can apply. Then that is really the gist of it. We need to eventually take ownership of our own happiness. If you want to enjoy life, it's your choice to enjoy it or not. Don't let anybody else decide for you that you will not enjoy your life. The author mentions what I mentioned earlier, which is people generally become happy when they get more money, when they are cured of disease, or when people are happy with them. And the opposite is true. People are generally sad if they become sick, if they lose money, or if other people are unhappy with them, or if they become, humiliated, meaning other people don't like them and they humiliate them publicly. Through our study, inshallah, this is our goal. Let's find a way to optimize and maximize the happy times and the enjoyable times. Life is like a roller coaster, right? Life has ups and it has downs. Anybody who says otherwise is joking or living in a simulated reality. But although life has its ups and downs, as we just mentioned earlier, it's very important that we don't magnify problems. A problem is a problem within its scope, and you deal with it within its scope. And you don't magnify problems bigger than they are. If you really want to enjoy your life, you have to deal with problems, giving them the deserved attention that they need, not more than that. Wallahi, mashallah, all of us here are very intelligent people. Allah has given us good brains. Many of us highly educated, very sophisticated when it comes to different sciences and different knowledges. That if you have all that ability, believe you me, that energy, all of it cannot be invested into why the kid, ate extra junk food, or why the kid didn't clean his room, or for the kid, why dad didn't buy the latest video game that I wanted. Whatever it is, it might require some energy, but not your whole brain is going to go to zoom in and focus on the problem and just zoom in on that and nothing else, and not address anything else, not focus on any other positive in your life. It's not worth it. Then the problems that we have in our life, address them and deal with them the way they need to be dealt with, the way they deserve to be dealt with. Age-old example. Imagine if there was, a fly here that I had to kill. Some fly I needed to tap. I can use anything, a book, piece of tissue, something. But imagine somebody else goes and brings the biggest, stone. Says, "Oh, there's a mosquito. You must kill the mosquito." Everybody understands. Or I want to make the example more dramatic. Imagine I see any of you guys, right? And somebody has a mosquito on his shoulder. Say, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah." This mosquito, if we don't get to him, he's going to take the blood of Masagun. And the blood, if the blood is going, and who is this mosquito to think he can steal the blood? Let's go bring a rock to crush the mosquito. Everybody understands this is blown way out of proportion. But wallahi, some of the problems in my life and your life are worth the amount of the mosquito, and we are bringing boulders to go deal with the mosquito. Then the lesson learned is deal with the problem with the amount of energy and the amount of time that it deserves, and don't magnify and don't spend more time than it deserves. Every sadness that is caused and every grief that is caused by a problem somehow enters the heart without permission, right? The sadness that enters our heart, you don't have a moment to sit and think, can I be sad? Should I be sad? The sadness comes. The problem is a human thinks that when the sadness comes, the sadness is in control. But the reality is sadness doesn't take permission to come in. Grief doesn't take permission to enter. But you have possibly 1,000 or more ways to let it out. That's where me and you have control. You see, if we go back to the example of what Maskur said to me, he didn't say it to me, by the way, but imagine he said something offensive to me. I am not in control of the fact that he may offend me. That I have no control over. And if he offends me, then I may become sad. I have no control over that. But I have at least 100 ways to control how to get that sadness out. The problem is, we spend time zooming in on something we have no control over. And we don't spend any time focusing on things that we have control over. It's a huge imbalance of the elements of our life, and that's when things become very, very complicated. Let me ask you guys something. Who are you impressed by? Let me pick on my young friends in the corner over there. There's no wrong answer. Who impresses you? In the sense, if you had to answer me who you would like to be like, If I gave you 10 years to go live your life, study, go to university, college, work, do whatever you want, and you have to come back, and if you say the most Googled man on the face of planet Earth, you will be escorted out of the masjid, just because I'm sick and tired of hearing that. But who are you impressed by to a level that if you came back to me 10 years from now and you managed to match their success or emulate their success, you would feel happy and proud? Any idea? Oh, mashallah, so amazing. Tell me about somebody who is alive today. I appreciate that answer. May Allah bless you. Have you guys seen the video of the student in Toronto who said his role model is Prophet Muhammad and someone else? You guys missed that one. I'll tell you about it privately. Somebody who's alive today. If you say my name, I'll be so honored, but don't say that. Okay, so he doesn't have to be alive today, but somebody who lived in the last 100, 200 years, 300 years. Messi. Okay? Good. And what effort are you putting to match Messi's achievements in the next 10 years? Still working on it, huh? Good. But that's a very good example. From you guys on this side, who are you impressed by? Who would you like to be like in 10 years? Any idea? Anything? The kids in the back are more than welcome to participate. What? Someone say Ronaldo? And sisters, anybody that you guys would like to be like? Somebody that you think is a good example or role model for you? My young friends, the sisters in the back over there, Shazia and her friends. Ustad Ali Hidayat. Very good. Well, I never met Ustad Ali, but from whatever I heard about him and little I've seen online about him, he's mashallah, very learned and very successful. And again, what effort are you putting to make sure that you are like him in 10 years? By the way, it's very possible. Anything, the point of this discussion was, let me share with you guys where I'm going. There is a tiny problem if we are impressed by someone and have a dream in the back of our mind that we will be like them, and we put close to no effort to be like them, right? That's a lose-lose situation. Where are you going with that? That means you are somebody, like many people frankly, but inshallah our jama'ah will not be like that. That's why we're having these discussions. We should never allow ourselves to be people who are just impressed by other people. And if somebody asks you the difficult question of what are you doing, what do you mean? What do you mean, what am I doing? The brother, that's obviously when he said he wants to be like Messi, if you ask him, what do you mean you want to be like Messi? He says, I would love to win the World Cup, I would love to do this, I would love to do that, I'd love to have that kind of money. Okay, but what are you doing? What do you mean? That's not part of the conversation. I'm just telling you how Messi is. How I will act and how I will do something to become like Messi never even crossed my mind, but I like Messi and I'd love to be like him. This is a waste of time, useless conversation, useless discussion. And what is happening? Many people end up in this type of position. So you have a role model or you have somebody that you look up to, but if you really ask what effort are you putting to emulate them, the answer is very, very, very little. In reality, in essence, if we want to be successful, all of us should have a role model, right? A role model in every sense. And this is very important for the community to provide role models, meaning for us, for the masjid, to provide role models to our community. Men and women is very, very, very important. You guys may remember, once upon a time, weeks ago, Ustadha Oki visited the masjid and we had that little podcast discussion with her. I was pushing for that big time, and I wanted to make sure that if she's landing in Canada, we get her to visit the masjid and we have that discussion. Why? Because for whatever reason, however you slice it, it's easier or it happens more often that me or a member of my species, the men, can be here with the microphone speaking and sharing our ideas and our thoughts. But it's not very often that we see that from a lady or from a sister. But the reality is, a sister has just as much opportunity. She has a brain just like all of us. She is very capable of excelling, becoming successful, becoming famous, giving back to her society, giving back to her community. And in the case of the Ustadha who joined us, being a phenomenal role model for other young girls. That if you really want, you can put effort, you can excel in your life, you can chase your career, you can become successful, and you can also give back to humanity. I don't want to summarize again what we discussed with her. You guys can find the recording on Facebook if you want. But this is the idea. The human being needs a role model. Not only a role model in salah and in Islam and in deen, but in life, right? We need to see, young men need to see other successful young men who are older than them. Teenagers, teenage boys need to see young men in their 30s or in their late 20s, whatever it is, who have already graduated university, who have their careers set up, who've started families, and they need to see that as the line of thinking and the model of where they can go. And the same goes for young girls. Assalamu alaikum, how you doing? Good to see you guys, mashallah. Same thing goes for young girls. They need to be able to see, teenage girls need to see young women who are in their late 20s, 30s, maybe even 40s. If you're not in that age bracket, I'm not discriminating and suggesting you're not young, don't worry. But they need to see real life role models. Oh, this person went to university, went to college, built a career. Oh, okay, cool. They ended up getting married. Now they're starting a family. Wow, that's nice. It seems this works. Maybe we can do the same. Role models are very, very important. But real role models that you plan to emulate and you plan to take inspiration from and you plan to move forward, in their footsteps, hopefully hoping to become successful and to achieve happiness. Time is up, really. We're not going to go further than this, inshallah, even though I had a little bit more to share for today, but we will continue this another time. Just a heads up for you guys. Next month, inshallah, the last Saturday of the month of February, we have a very special program. How to enjoy your life will be on hold for next month, because we will be talking about Isra wal Mi'raj. That miraculous journey that the Prophet ﷺ went on will be marked next month. Historically, that's when it took place, in the month of Rajab, which we are in right now. Then inshallah we will be commemorating that event and reflecting on it, what we can learn from it as a community next month. That's just a heads up for you guys. To close today's discussion, something to think about. Success is not to discover what others like. For the guys who just joined us, we're talking about how to be happy. You want to be happy? Are you happy?
I am happy.
You got married recently, so you have no other option other than to say you're happy. May Allah bless you. We're very happy to see you guys, mashallah. But success is not to discover what others like. For me and you to be successful doesn't mean to find out what somebody else likes. Success is to practice the skills that earn their love. Now, if you are a husband and you have your wife, if you are a wife and you have your husband, you understand this very well. At least you should. If you don't see me, see another Imam. Right? It's not success. You're not successful if you know that your husband likes something. Wallahi, same thing for the children. It's not an achievement to know that your mom likes that you clean your room. It's an achievement to practice cleaning your room so your mom will be happy with you. That's the key. Knowing what somebody else likes is not an achievement. What are you going to do about it? Then the author is reminding us that if you want to be successful, you need to have this habit of practicing what other people like, the skills that will earn their love. The more you do that, the more you will earn their love and their appreciation. Simple example. If somebody knows, for example, if the husband knows that their wife or his wife likes her cup of coffee a certain way, then practice knowing that she likes the coffee that way is not helpful. But if you practice making her coffee that way and bringing the coffee to her in the morning, that practice over and over again will build love. And that building of love will breed happiness for you. Because where did we start from? Human beings are happy when others are happy with them. It's just natural. It's a human phenomenon. And if the other person is mad and is angry at me, then I become sad. Then one of the fastest and easiest ways to make yourself happy is actually to practice what will make others around you happy so that you yourself can be happy. It's a self-feeding loop, right? And that's why anybody who is selfish, narcissistic, self-centered, they really got it all wrong. Because those type of people, besides the fact that they offend others, believe you me, they will never enjoy life. Because Allah didn't make us like that. Allah didn't create me and you, the children of Adam, as self-centered beings. We are people in general who appreciate the happiness of others. Just imagine, right? I don't know if I ever told you guys, if I didn't become a lecturer or an Imam, there was a time in my high school career I dreamed of being a comedian. This was my goal in life. You guys didn't laugh, and you guys are an amazing audience. I probably wouldn't have pursued it, too far, but something that was in my mind. Now, obviously I come here, we discuss, we learn together. I make some amazing jokes that you guys will never hear anywhere else other than at the Masjid in Istiqlal, and you guys laugh. Imagine if you guys nobody laughed, nobody enjoyed anything. I tried to discuss some stuff with you, everyone was like, oh. Some of you are, but it's because you ate too much, I understand. Don't worry, I get it. That's how I was when I first arrived today. But imagine if nobody was excited or engaged in what I was doing. Do you think I will be happy? I will leave from here sad, miserable, say, oh, this gig is a little bit too hard, this crowd is a little bit tough, it's not adding up. I wouldn't feel good. The same way that I feel happy that you guys enjoy and hopefully inshallah learn something and benefit something and maybe get to laugh once or twice, I enjoy that because you guys are enjoying. That's really what it comes down to. I hope you guys understand this. The same will happen in your life. Just do it, try it, and we're going to close with this inshallah. Your assignment, we'll try to have these every month. Your assignment for all of you, for the men, for my young friends, for the sisters, for my young sisters as well. Your assignment is when you go home for the next month, practice, put an effort to make other people in your home happy and see if that makes you happy long term. Don't be selfish. Think about what your mom likes. Think about what your dad likes. Think about what your wife likes. Think about what your husband likes. Think of what the kids like. And then make a conscious effort to do it to make them happy. And come back to me after a month and tell me that I made everyone in the house so happy, but I felt so sad. It'll never happen. And you guys are laughing because you agree. This is the reality. If everyone else is happy, you will be happy. And if everyone else is sad, you will be sad. You guys, I'm sure, know about the psychological experiment they did. They got a person to walk into a room like this with 20 people, and they told all the 20 people beforehand, they said, just smile and laugh as if you guys are having a good time. That guy entered the room, he looked and he started smiling. And the same guy, different guy, same group of people in the room, they brought a different guy and they told the 20 people, they said, you guys look angry, mean, look at each other as if there's a big fight going on. And that guy came in and you should have seen the worry and the terror on his face, because just by looking at the environment around him, it affected him. Then we are human beings that are built this way. If the environment around us is happy, we will be happy. If the environment around us is sad, we will be sad. Sometimes, may Allah protect us, I'm sad. And I'm sad because everyone else around me is sad. But the reality is, I made everyone sad. This is suicide. Let me put the effort to make others around me happy. Believe you me, I will be happy, you will be happy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us not only happiness in this dunya, but eternal happiness in the next life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all the ultimate happiness, which is what? It's the opportunity to look at the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to look at the one who sustains us and provides us and created us and guided us. We beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all the best in this world and to grant us the best in the next life and to save us from the fire of Jahannam. We have our newly married couple came to visit us in the masjid, mashallah. We're so honored and happy to see them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to place love and affection in their hearts for one another and to grant them complete success and happiness in this life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless their families and their relatives back home. You guys are still planning to go visit them? The plan is still on. Then we hope inshallah they're able to make the trip successfully to visit their loved ones and to share their happiness and their joy with them. It's always our pleasure and our honor to see you guys. You're welcome here at the masjid anytime. We're so happy to see you. And for all of you who made the effort to come and to spend the evening in the masjid, we hope and pray that you guys get home safely inshallah. Just one announcement here in the masjid. Our halaqa tomorrow morning after Fajr is cancelled, and the breakfast tomorrow is cancelled as well. Please, nobody ask, halaqa is cancelled, but will there be breakfast? There will be no breakfast. And there will be no halaqa. The reason for that is obviously the bad weather that we're expecting. snowstorm is coming. They're talking about up to 10 centimeters of snow. Environment Canada issued a warning to avoid the roads if you can. We are not going to try to be the weatherman ourselves. We will trust their information, and we will postpone the Sunday morning halaqa until next Sunday, inshallah. With that, we conclude, and we'll ask whoever the mu'adhin is to make adhan. We will pray Isha, and I advise all of you, inshallah, to hit the road and get home before it starts snowing. Thank you very much for your attentive listening and for your active participation. May Allah bless all of you. For those of you who are watching at home, we hope and pray to see you physically in the masjid at Istiqlal, Toronto very soon, inshallah. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.